Hi, everybody. Before watching or listening to today's episode, please do us a favor and hit subscribe. It would really help us out. Okay, enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated, where I'm pretty excited today. I've got actor Daniel Abeles. So welcome. Did I get that right? Is it Abeles?
Look, I got to be honest. I'm not too sure myself. I just roll with what I've been saying my whole life.
I really want to say A, but I think it's Ab, right?
I think it's Abeles. That's how my family say it. But like, I think there are other folks out there with the same spelling that say Abeles. People call me Abel.
I've heard that.
I just need to be different, so I say Abeles, like abacus.
Daniel Abeles.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it sounds very, that's a very actor name, I think.
Is it? I
think it is.
Like actor names need to be easily pronounceable. Otherwise.
No. You want it to be different, so that you want, yahoos like me to struggle with it a little bit.
No. Quite the opposite, sir.
See, I don't have that option. It's just Mike Wall. You can't mess that up. Maybe put an S on it.
I bet you some people could, but look, I don't honestly. I think it's a Spanish. My last name is Spanish, so you could pronounce it Abeles or Abeles, but it's also Hungarian. I really I'm riding the diasporic wave. I don't know.
It's however you want to pronounce it. I spent my whole life thinking our last name was Wall, and then I found out that my grandfather had just dropped the S. He didn't officially change it anywhere. He just dropped it, and then it was like 80 years ago. So at this point, I guess it's Wall.
Why be plural? I'm just one guy. Wall.
It's just one guy. So yeah, so there we go. All right. So now that we scared everybody off.
This is a show about surnames.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I understand you're a 49ers fan.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
Yeah. No. No, I grew up with Montana and Young and Jerry Rice and that crew.
That was my crew.
I wish I could say I was a 49ers fan, but I'm a Raiders fan. And it's terrible. It has been just a rough couple decades.
Well, they're getting better. I mean, I think they keep needing moving cities. And in that first couple of years, that new spot, they'll do okay. You guys have a little bit of turmoil with Mr. Gruden gone. But
gosh.
Look,
that was very disappointing.
I love when the Raiders are winning.
It's fun.
It's fun. It reminds me of the 80s when I was a young child. But I always root for the Raiders, except when there are fights in the parking lot at what was Candlestick. They're not coming all the way down to Santa Clara anymore. I mean, they're not. That's
right.
It's too far.
I was, strangely enough, I was a Jim Plunkett fan. Which, I mean, he felt like he quarterbacked till he was like 60.
Yeah,
he hung in there, and then like through the late 80s, early 90s, Tecmo Bowl came out.
Oh, I remember.
You're right. So you had Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen, and
that was the greatest game.
Oh my gosh! Forget all the other video games. That was hands down the best.
Screw John Madden. Yeah.
If you played the Raiders, you couldn't be beat.
No, I know. Like Bo Jackson, you just run over everybody.
Yeah. I've seen those videos where they show him running the length of the field, dodging everybody, and then going backwards the length of the field, and then going the length of the field again and scoring. And that's how it was. You couldn't stop him.
You know how his career ended, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you saw that. It's because he was too strong. Like he ran so hard.
Yeah.
He broke his own leg.
Yeah, it's his hip.
His hip. He broke his own bone.
It was a shame because he was a heck of a baseball player too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so that was a shame. Okay, so we've covered everything non-acting related.
See you later. It's great to talk.
This interview's finished.
That's about all I got anyway.
So Daniel, talk a little bit about how you got into entertainment. What made you want to become an actor?
Oh, wow. Well, so my family's pretty theatrical. If you were in a restaurant with us, you'd be able to tell. I'm the youngest.
You're those guys.
I really try not to be, but it's usually an argument. It's not, we're not the cool guys in the corner. We're the annoying people. My brother is the oldest, and my sister, and then myself. And we always played music growing up, music and sports and stuff like that. My sister was an actress, and my brother was recruited for baseball to go to school, but then he decided to do English and music and instead and quit. This all sort of happened around the same time. My sister was at USC for acting. She transferred to University of Miami for opera. At the same time, my brother decided to go to grad school in London for acting. And at that same time, I decided to audition for NYU for acting. Oh, wow. Mostly because my girlfriend was up at Columbia a year ahead of me, and I really wanted to be in New York to be with her. And I was like, well, I'll just go to NYU. Everyone at that point was like, what? You? But over time, it has made more sense in retrospect. I mean, we're all in the arts, and so it's a natural fit. As much as I resent my parents a little bit for not forcing me to do something more reasonable with my life. They
let you make your own choices.
They were supportive in the go for it way. And it's been going all right.
That's good. That's good. So did you do theater coming up through high school?
I did a little bit. Yeah, I mostly did more theater when I busted my shoulder playing baseball, so I couldn't really play.
Oh, yeah.
And my coach and I didn't get along super well, so I decided to go spend some more quality time with the GF and do the plays. This is just seeing a theme. There's a theme happening here. But yeah, I did some, and then I went to NYU, and then I loved it. I fit right in. I'm a weirdo. They're a bunch of strange, lovely, eccentric people, and it fit in a way, and I just kept doing it and just put my head down and kept grinding and grinding and grinding.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Do you sing? Can we see you in a musical?
When provoked.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I do. I play my own music. I was in a band growing up and all that stuff. My brother and my sister both do Broadway. My sister was in Phantom of the Opera for years. My brother was in Once, $1 Million Quartet, and all these big shows. And I always was kind of like, I want to act. I want to do the real stuff.
That's right.
Which means that you work less in New York. But I think the answer is no. You're never going to see me in a musical. But I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
All I heard was you were in a band. I think I've seen this TV show. So it's like star baseball player hurts his shoulder, has to join the theater group, starts a band. I think I've seen that show.
I think that is a plot line of Glee. I mean, it might, except it's football. It's a little more badass. Yeah. I'm developing that show starting now.
That's right.
Starting right now.
You need to. It almost writes itself.
Look, I play softball in the Broadway Show League in the summer in New York, and when there's not a happening, and it's like the greatest. It's the greatest experience. Growing up, I was like, I'm never gonna play softball. That's for old people, like I want to play baseball. And now I live for it. Yeah, it's great, and I've met so many great actors, and everyone in the theater industry is playing for the most part. So who's the best
player, actor that you've seen or played with?
Oh,
Who's
man.
got skill?
There are a lot of people who have skill. You're
Yeah.
putting me in the spot. I mean, if I choose one, I'm going to get beamed by another. There are a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the big Broadway shows, sometimes they don't want their stars in there because if they take a bad hop to the face, you know, the show's going to look a little different.
Yeah. The show's going to have some issues. It's kind of, I don't know if you ever saw the Seinfeld episode where it had Bette Midler was playing softball and, you know, George runs her over. So she's out of the play. And then
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When they were shooting, there was a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode with Rosie O'Donnell and Larry David. I was on the other field when they were playing that day. You know? Yeah.
What's your position
in softball? Probably. I mean, anywhere. Usually third base or something. There's shortstop, hot corner. But
well, then the shoulder is healed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Have you got to play?
I really feel like I can make it in the pros now.
Have you got to at least like play a sports person in a TV show or a movie yet?
Never.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
Never.
We got to make that happen.
I know. I sent in so many tapes to play in Moneyball, to play like the young Brad Pitt when he was playing baseball, a young Billy Bean, you know, when he was.
You could have totally done that.
I really thought maybe I had a shot, but they went with someone taller, I think.
But no. It was amusing to me that Billy Bean was played by Brad Pitt. I mean, if you had to have a movie made about you, okay.
You know that was probably the first thing on his contract. He's like, if you want me to license this story to you, I need a movie star like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
To play me.
Yeah, that's just smart.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty good. So I wanted to talk to you about, so your new project is Women of the Movement.
Yes, sir.
Which sounds really, really interesting. I love the history stuff. It just sounds terrific. Talk a little bit about it. You know, what's the project about? What's your role in it?
So the main thrust of the story is there was a terrible case. Emmett Till was this young boy who went from Chicago down to Mississippi in the 50s. And he got into some trouble down there and was obviously unjustly, he was lynched and tortured and just brutalized because he was accused of flirting and or whistling at this white woman in her store while he was buying candy. And which wasn't the case. If there was any kind of whistling, it was because that's how he controlled his stutter. You know, it was like, anyway, so the story is not so much focused on that as it is his mother, Mamie Till, who, as you can imagine, was forced to confront the most horrible things a parent could ever have to confront, is finding out that your child has been murdered and in this way. And it's just, so it's sort of, it takes us from the beginning where that happens and leads us with her through the story of how she goes down to Mississippi. She employs the NAACP for more publicity to make the story more widely known. She makes it a broad call for attention into a major problem. And despite what I imagine her potentially wanting to not have to deal with anybody, she makes a decision that she wants the world to know what happened to her son so that things like that won't ever happen again. And so it chronicles Mamie and her story more than it does.
Really interesting. It's based on a book, right?
It is. It's based on a book. And Devery, who wrote that book, played a juror in some of the court scenes.
Oh, nice.
He's
if I wrote a book, I would totally do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one day he did choke on some peanuts or something and sound. We had a whole. He was okay. It's like he was very embarrassed. But anyway, so it's a very difficult story, but it's a beautifully told story. And MJ, the showrunner, didn't want to approach it from. She approached it from the beginning, which is about life and joy and about this mother's love for her son and their community and all this stuff. And I think she's going to continue that aspect of the community justice and groups rallying for good and things like that.
That's really good. So what is your role in it's a limited series?
It's a limited series. Every role in this story is based on actual people, except for mine. Just not believable. So I play a character named Chet Pacton, which jokes ensue. He is a reporter, Southern guy. He comes up from Jackson to the more central part of the state where this story is located.
Yeah.
And he is an easygoing guy. I think he's not as sort of antiquated as some of the other people might be around there. And he becomes a conduit between Mamie, her family, the lawyers, and the journalists over there, and the district attorney who's trying to prosecute these guys who clearly did this, who murdered this child, and who get off. But so he's when I tell people I was in this show, they always say, "Oh, I can see you as a racist." I'm like, no, he's a good guy. I'm playing a good guy, and they don't hear me. They're like, "No, I see it. I see it. You're racist." Like, no. Chet Pacton is like one of the few good white guys in the story to be. I mean,
well, so was he like an amalgam of several people, and they just kind of used you as that conduit?
That's yes, I think so. It's a more concise and more dramatic way of telling a story. It's like in Chernobyl. Did you watch Chernobyl on HBO?
I did. It was a great show. Hard to watch at times, but great show.
Fantastic. But I think there wasn't just one scientist. It was like a group of 21 who, but you can imagine.
Right. A little tougher to get that many involved.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard for me to summarize what the show is about, obviously, because there's so many different aspects of it. It's a very rich world, but for the most part, it's about a mother fighting to show the world how unjust things are and how brutally murdered her son was because of it.
It sounds like such a difficult subject, but what a great role for you to have it in the show. I mean, that had to be exciting, but kind of intimidating too, because that's obviously a role I'm assuming that you're going to have to show some emotion. It's going to be something where you're going to have to react to some of the things you're hearing and seeing.
Yeah. Some of it was, it came pretty naturally, when you're shooting in the locations where this stuff actually happened, which for the most part we did. I mean, we shot in the same courtroom that this actual trial took place for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's something about going to that small town that seems like it's just like a time capsule. It seems like it's just locked in the 50s. I don't know, karmically or I mean, the industry, the cotton industry obviously changed, and but being in those rooms and seeing the arguments made and watching how the actors who had to play the evil guys so convincingly did it. it's tough. But, you know, the story's not about me and my reactions and all that stuff. I mean, it's very much not. So it's mostly, there's a lot of listening and a lot of doing whatever Chet Paxton can do to get the information through to the people who can actually make stuff happen.
Yeah.
I will say there's something in the end of the show, which, you know, might be a little betraying. He's not a totally good, he's a complex dude.
Yeah.
He's a complex guy. And, but yeah, it was, there were some days that were easier than not, but I got it. Despite the subject matter, we all had an amazing time. It was a total love fest. We were laughing and it was a very joyful process, despite, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The tough subject. That's terrific. Is any chance it's, if I remember right, it was taking place in the mid 50s. So
1955.
60 some years ago. Yeah. I'm guessing most of that group of people is no longer with us. Any chance that you got to meet any of them?
No, I mean, I went to a screening the other day and there was a gentleman who knew Mamie and he spoke and things like that.
Yeah.
The Bryants and J.W. Mile, I mean, the two guys, they both died, but Carolyn Bryant, who was the young lady at that time,
yeah,
she's still alive and she lives down there and obviously didn't want anything to do with it.
Of course. Yeah.
But there were some people who remembered, I mean, who live in Greenwood, who live in the town and they remembered, and some people were very happy we were there and some people were not too thrilled that we were there shooting this story.
Yeah. Well, I could see that because especially with the kind of the climate that we're in currently, I could see where it might be a little divisive. Hopefully majority will take the story, learn from it, make positive changes, but I'm sure there's some opposition for the story to even be told.
Oh yeah, they feel there's a certain resentment. I think there are people there who feel as if their whole lives have been cataloged by this event, despite maybe not feeling as if they were part of it. Although there were people down there who just straight up, you know, what was that movie? Mississippi. There's Mississippi Burning, and then there's the one with Samuel L. Jackson. Blanking. What's that movie where he walks into the courtroom and he just shoots the two guys because
they
raped his
it'll come to me. I'll throw it out there. It'll come to
me. You know, he lived down there and he was like, well, you know, he did that. It was this kind of like just knee jerk. You seen that movie? Well, that was true. And he just walked into the courtroom and he killed two guys. And it was just kind of like, yeah, there's an odd justice system down here. Clearly,
right.
You know, a jury of peers did not agree that these guys should be prosecuted for the crimes, even though they like basically admit it later. And so there's still, Greenwood was a thriving town in the cotton industry, and it feels a little bedraggled. Yeah. And it seems there's still a stark contrast in between neighborhoods. You know, some guy said, "Don't ever go to that." You know, and it was.
It's kind of scary. I mean, you know, it's 65 years later, we're still dealing with some of that. I think that part of it's disappointing.
Yeah. It's kind of baffling to me that some people could, in some part of their mind, just not agree how bad this was. Like, this isn't a shade of gray. This isn't a hypothetical situation where, you know, we're arguing over the potential you know, this isn't an academic exercise. This was a case of a young boy.
Right.
At worst, saying something out of turn, but let's be honest, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't at all. Yeah. But being just brutalized and murdered because of it. it's pretty gross.
Well, and it's one of the main events that kind of sparked the whole civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is incredible.
Yeah. Cause Rosa Parks, her Montgomery protest was, I think, December of 1955, which was just after all the major publicity of this. I mean, Mamie Till Mobley, she got married to a man named Gene Mobley. She wanted her son's casket open, and she wanted his picture taken and put in the news so people could see this, instead of just being disregarded and buried quickly so that no one could see.
As a mother, just looking at that as a parent, let's say, I just can't imagine the strength it would take to think about. I mean, at that time, I don't think you would be thinking about changing a system or a society. You'd just be grieving, and to have the strength to actually have open casket to start that fight and that movement. And it's just an amazing story.
It is. Yeah. I obviously this is a dramatized version. I'm not sure. It moves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So we see her sort of turn into, she's not a puddle of emotions this whole time. And you wonder what the actual internal process is for that. I'm not a parent, but yeah, I mean, she basically started it. I have to imagine Rosa Parks was inspired by this woman.
Yeah, I would think so, just because of the timing.
Yeah,
it would almost have to be. Yeah, amazing. Congratulations on getting that role, because it's such an important limited series. What channel is going to be showing?
ABC.
ABC
and Hulu. So.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I mentioned earlier, or I asked you about being in a musical, and it dawned on me you were in that show that was kind of a musical.
Smash.
Yeah.
Well, I played a lighting designer, so
you were still on there. If that show had lasted another season, you'd have been singing.
I bet you I would. Well, if I hadn't prematurely left the show, maybe I would have been singing.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. But yes, I was. That was kind of my first TV job was Law and Order.
Yeah.
I think that was my second TV job, and it was a pretty good one. I had a.
It was pretty good. You had a recurring role on there.
Yeah, I had a pretty good role on it. And
what was your role on Law and Order?
Oh man,
were you the killer?
No, I was the red herring. I was the guy.
Yeah.
I was the guy that they want the audience to think did it for the money, but it just turns out he's an idiot. Which is that's better casting.
Yeah. That's funny. That's pretty good. There's a couple other shows I remember seeing you on. One, I think you were on a couple episodes, was The Good Wife.
Yeah. Played a lawyer on Good Wife.
Yeah. We liked you on that. Me and my wife, we enjoyed you on that one, because anytime I have somebody on the show, I always go around to the family. I'm like, what have you seen this person in? And that's the one she said. She's like, I'm pretty sure he was a lawyer on The Good Wife. I was like,
yeah. That was a fun one. Well, I get recognized sometimes from my role on Blue Bloods.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I got these two people on the subway in New York who you wouldn't think would watch Blue Bloods. They were like, were you on Blue Blood? It's like, wow, I didn't think you were the demographic for this.
That show has a very large audience.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. And it's been on forever now.
Oh, I know. I mean, you can't have a mustache like that without an audience,
Well, and you were also on it's kind of a sci-fi type of show called Forever. Is that the one?
Forever was a short-lived show too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one. Like that's the one I remembered you from. I was like, that's the one.
Yeah, I was definitely involved in the murder in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Have,
some fun stuff.
have you got to play a victim yet?
I think so, but no one ever believes me. I'm trying to think. I mean, wrongly accused, I guess, but no, never the one distinctly wronged.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't, I don't think so.
So is there a genre that you haven't got to play that you would like to try?
I haven't done a lot of comedy, to be honest.
I was going to say comedy. It seems like you should be in a comedy, maybe a baseball comedy.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, or it's just maybe a softball comedy. Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. Softball comedy.
Baseball. But yeah, I would love to have fun. I mean, I know people who shoot comedies around comedy. It would be a great joy to laugh all day long, you know?
Yeah.
Not when you're not supposed to.
Well, and like we need more sitcoms. Sitcoms are kind of dying out. We need more.
They are, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to hear that you watch network TV and stuff like that, but it seems to be there's a show for everybody out there, and you can't really. There are a few singular shows that everybody sort of, or at least my group of friends, we can always talk about and rally around. But
yeah,
are there those comedy cultural touchstones anymore? The water cooler.
I don't think so. It like when we were growing up, that was must see TV.
Right.
Friends and Seinfeld and I guess you could say Big Bang may have been one of the last ones to go out because it was on for so long. But Cheers and Home Improvement, that type of show, that's just not there anymore.
I know. I mean, now for me, Succession is a comedy, but we're in time.
That's a show that you would fit in. We could get you on that.
Oh, I would love to be on that show.
It's a good show.
Everyone is such a terrible person, but
there is not one good person on that show.
No. No. But yeah. It's a strange time. I think Ted Lasso, obviously is a counterpoint to that, and
absolutely
exceedingly well, because I think people want goodness.
That's right.
Like they want to see a nice, just people being nice to each other, because the world out there has gotten a little vicious and certainly sarcastic.
For sure. I mean, you remember like when I was growing up, no matter what it was always tied up with a happy ending. Always. Mm-hmm. But then we got to the point where we don't do that. It has a very, at best, it's kind of ambiguous, and a lot of times it's just not a good ending at all. Right. But then everybody went that way. And now people are like, I just want a happy ending. Just give me something nice.
Well, I think they're going to start. I think you're going to start seeing more. I mean, certainly after the success of Ted Lasso, a bunch of people just looking at analytics are going to say, well, that's skewed that way. Let's just make more of that. I don't mind the ambiguous ending all the time. But I'm getting a little tired of it. I got to be honest,
Yeah.
So
I've been while we're talking, I've been developing your next show. So here goes. You're a failed baseball player.
Check.
That ends up coaching a softball team, and you're unhappy about it because baseball was your dream. But then somewhere in there, you accidentally fall into solving a crime.
So it's like Bad News Bears meets,
I don't know, Psych, maybe.
It's like, I don't know why True Detective popped in my head, because that just went too dark.
That's a little darker. I was thinking more of a comedy, but
yeah, I like it. I'll take it. I'll take that.
Somebody's going to be listening. They're going to be like, ooh, we better make that before this guy does it.
Yeah, you don't want it to be written and starred in by the same guy.
No.
Well,
I think it's, and all I ask when they develop this show, I'll be one of the softball players. I could be the worst one.
Oh, so it's an adult softball league.
Yeah, it's an adult softball league. I'll just be out there. I don't know. Just throw me out there. I don't even need any lines. I'm just on the field.
And the murders what? The star player right before the big game?
I like that. What if it's the star player and you as the coach, you suspect another player, but you also need that player to play?
Oh, crisis of conscience.
That's right. So like
this person in.
Or maybe you find out that it was him, but you're in the championship game or something. So like, do you let him play or do you turn him in?
Well, if it's a comedy, I don't know.
We're gonna have to workshop this.
We need some kind of Deus Ex Machina here because that's a hard decision, you know. We need some kind of divine intervention so that the choice is just too difficult. I mean,
it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, would it hurt anything to go ahead and play the game and then turn him in? That's up to you.
I don't know. I mean, you know, no comment. No comment.
I don't know. I think that's the one though. That's the vehicle you've been looking for.
Yeah, maybe there's a tribute band in there too somewhere. This is like just can't catch a break being in the tribute. What's funny? Led Zeppelin? That's not funny anymore.
No, you got to pick a. It's
got to be like Real Big Fish cover tribute band.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. What? So, do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play the guitar. I play the piano. I played the classical violin for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. But mostly now it's just the guitar.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Do you and your siblings get together and have a jam session?
Not as often as my mother would like. We do for like the special events we play together. You know, when we threw my mom a surprise birthday party, we played some music for her and her friends. When my brother got married, I played some music with my sister. When my sister got, stuff like that. Yeah. But no, most of the time we're just arguing with love.
Yeah, sibling stuff.
But it's hard to get everybody together now. You know, we're all grown up. I have a lot of nieces. I have 4 nieces.
Oh, nice.
They're little genius imps. So
most
is for them these days, which is totally fine.
Are you the Funkle?
I am.
Yeah.
I have a mug that says I am the Funkle, which is a term I'd never heard before. Granted, my brother's not as fun as I am, so why would he get that?
He doesn't get that. My son, we've got four kids, and 3 of them have kids of their own. My son is the exception, so he's the uncle without any kids. So that's why I was like, oh, you can be the Funkle, and he's like, no. He said I want to be the Hunkle. He said it's like a Funkle but hunkier.
Listen, you're inspiring me now. I
just throwing that out there.
Gotta get to work. Jeez.
Yeah. You got some, stuff to live up to.
They're all down there in West Virginia with you?
Yeah. So, we've been blessed. All the kids, 3 of them live on our street. The other one's about 10 minutes away.
Wow.
So that's what I was doing today before the interview. I was doing, pawpaw stuff. I had all the kids babysitting today.
All right.
Yeah.
You're a young grandfather.
That's very nice of you to say. Well, they're pretty young. So the oldest is just 2.5. Uh-huh. They go like 2.5, 2, 1.5, and 4 months. So they're pretty young.
All pandemic babies, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't much else to do, I guess.
I mean, you're telling me. Well, I did go shoot a show in Mississippi. Well, that was cool. I mean, but
Yeah.
yeah, for the
So
most part,
did you? So you filmed this last year during the pandemic?
in the middle of it all, and in Mississippi, I mean, the weather. You talk about weather changes. Now we had an ice storm one week that shut us down.
Wow.
Shut us down for a week.
It's cold there anyway.
It was wild, and it's supposed to be the middle of summer. I mean, one of these days, it was supposed to be the hottest day of the
Yeah, that's
year.
supposed to be hot. Yeah, that'd be hot.
We had to put ice cubes in our mouth so we didn't breathe vapor.
Gosh.
It was that
Really?
cold. Yeah, but
yeah, you wouldn't. I assumed you were filming in the winter, but yeah, if it was summer, that's usually like scorching humidity.
No. In the story, it was the hottest day of the year, but we were.
Okay. But you're filming it in when it's cold.
Very cold. But we were all, it was the middle of the pandemic, so we were all bubbled together, and we just lived in a hotel for a few months and just destroyed it.
Did you have to quarantine for a couple of weeks before you even got to start?
Nope. Yeah. I got the call that I got the job. Completely cliche story. The night before, I was done. I quit. I didn't want to do this anymore. I just had this breakdown, which isn't very usual for me, but it led to a big fight. And then I got the call the next morning, and then I was sort of just had my go bag ready for a couple weeks. And then I got a call that I was due on a plane in a day or two. I landed. The next day I was shooting. Next day I was on set shooting my
That's
scene.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did they have restrictions? If you weren't in the scene, were you masked up, or did you have to, stay away from the people that are, shooting at the time, that type of thing? It had to be difficult. It
was very difficult, especially, you get used to it though, right? I mean, and then since we were all together and there's not a lot to do there, so whatever we did was with each other, and it was mostly just taking long drives and doing donuts in parking lots and stuff like that, and drinking beers behind the hotel. There wasn't a whole lot of activities where we could have brought something back. And
right. You're very isolated.
Very isolated. That's a very succinct way of putting it. Yeah, but the first day of shooting, I got to set and I had a mask on and a visor, and I didn't, it's a strange kind of thing because when you rehearse, you're feeling like what your impulses are and whatever. And they're a lot different when you take your masks off. Sure. And you're talking to someone if you're in a scene where you need to drink or eat, you don't really have the impulse to drink or eat when you're covered up like that. But anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, because it's in a lot of ways that job's a blessing, because there wasn't a lot of stuff shooting last year.
No way.
And then when you tell me you're coming, you're like having a difficult time, and you're like, I may just give it up, and then next day you get the call. I mean, that's meant to be.
It was a beautiful day. I mean, and the whole experience itself was fantastic. I mean, everyone working on the show was so generous of spirit, and it was just a load of fun. I mean, there weren't really, you hear stories of people having exceptionally bad times. Right. This was not one of them. And I don't know if that experience would have been the same had we not been bubbled and all that. You go in and out, and you traveling back and forth, and you come into work. You don't really get to bond with people like we ended up doing.
Yeah, that's true, because normally you're not just stuck in that kind of enclosed space for such a long period of time. Yeah. It's one of those, if you look back on last year, that type of situation probably never going to happen again. Where we had time where we were just isolated at home, the differences in when you're at work or when you're filming, doing that thing. I mean, maybe that comes back, but probably not. Last year was kind of unique, I think.
I really hope so. Like,
yeah.
It's still a bit strange up in New York and out in California, and I hadn't seen some friends that I was living down the street from for a long, long, long time.
Right.
And, some people were thriving in those situations,
Sure.
and at a certain and I don't mean to be callous about the people who are severely ill and all that stuff, but I mean, some people just taking away any sociability or social stuff for them. I mean, it really gave them peace of mind.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I oscillate between both of those. I think I'm a pretty social person, but yeah, it was just me and the girl for a long time, and then I jumped out to this Mississippi party essentially, and it was
Did you pick up a skill during the isolation? A lot of people picked up a new skill.
Yeah, a few that I don't want to say at the moment.
You didn't re-pick up the violin, start practicing?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that kind of party. It was more like I learned how to drive my Jeep, the Jeep Wrangler that I had been given as a rental car, through some fun terrain. Yeah, some card games. I learned some,
Yeah, I learned some card games.
No, nothing to write home about.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't. Then what's the one that a lot of people wrote a book? A lot of people that always wanted to write, they took that time to write.
Yeah, a lot of great American novels were written.
That's exactly right.
We can scroll through on screen and never pick up a book for.
And never pick them up. Yeah. Nobody actually makes a book anymore anyway. It's all digital.
I love reading books, though.
I do too. Well, Daniel, this has been great. I can't wait to see the show. As I said, I'm a history buff, so I'm excited about this one. I know it's going to be kind of a difficult watch, but
yeah,
I've always thought you're such a talented actor. I'm glad you didn't give it up, because I'm excited to see you in this one.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And don't turn that dial, as they used to say.
That's right. We still say, like if my dad, we get together and watch, most of the sporting events, and if we're not able to watch it on time, we still call each other and say, make sure you set the tape. Tapes. Nobody's taping anything now.
I know.
So before you go, is there anything else that you have upcoming that we can kind of keep an eye out for you in?
No, I'm going to be shooting some things in January, but nothing that I know of. I get a job since we've been talking. Nope.
Nothing imminent.
Nothing imminent.
But so what's the genre that you're working on in January?
Two different ones. One is sci-fi, and the other is like small, just cold weather bar.
Oh, nice.
Serious conversation. Is that a genre?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sure it is.
A lot of periods. That's what that was. Yeah. So two different things, but
that'll be good. I'm always excited about the sci-fi stuff, so that's good.
It's pretty cool concepts.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
Yep.
Well, so last thing before you go is, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Things I'm really good at.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so bad at this stuff. I am on Twitter.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not really. I'm more on Instagram. Is that the better one?
Yeah, I think Instagram is the one, other than if you're on TikTok. which, you know.
I am a voyeur of TikTok. I
Yeah,
you know,
me
but
as well.
I'm not a contributor. I'm just
It's a talent that I think TikTok is an actual talent if you're good at it.
Yeah, full length movies on TikTok. So my Instagram is DART Abeles. So Dart Abeles.
Dart Abeles.
Yeah.
All right, I take it back. You need to change your name to Dart. That should be
my middle name is Arthur. So like, you know,
oh yeah.
10 years ago, I realized I could say Art's my middle name. I haven't been slapped in the face yet, but I imagine once I say that, the wrong person is going to be like, are you kidding me? Art's your middle.
I think, you know, Dart Abeles sounds like a hard-boiled 1930s detective to me.
I'll take it. Some cool cars back then. I'll take it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, Daniel, thank you so much, and please come back when you get this sci-fi thing going. You got to come back and talk about it.
I will. I appreciate you having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, for me as well. Okay, hold on just a second. All right, so that was the talented Daniel Abeles. I think I got it right that time. No, I'm so excited to talk with him because I think he's such a talented actor. I've enjoyed him, everything I've seen him in, and we didn't talk about Person of Interest. I know there's another one I'm forgetting. Elementary were the other two that we had seen him in. My wife and I enjoy him on every show that we've seen him. He was good in Smash. He was good. We're joking around a little bit, but he was actually really good in it. Can't wait to see Women of the Movement. I hope that you will find that and enjoy it. It's on ABC and Hulu, so definitely check that out. I think it's going to be one of those shows that everybody's talking about, so don't miss out on that. If you haven't done so yet, you can help us out. You go to our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod, and subscribe. We really appreciate that. You can also find all 300 plus episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. It's got a terrific blog from Brett. He's funny, it's geeky, well written. You'll enjoy that. If we're doing anything in studio, like last night, we had a group over to watch The Last Duel. Good movie, if you haven't seen it yet. That'll be on there. If we're going to any shows, if we're covering any conventions, doing any live events, that'll be on there as well, meistercon.com. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. Don't take that for granted. Appreciate you. Until next time, bye everybody.